This is Belle High School. The gym was built in 1938 onto the side of the main school. Used to teach here as a librarian on the upper floor, and this is the gymnasium where we used to show movies all the time. I'd take the whole school down there, about 300 and some kids. Sit down there with a little help from a teacher or two and show movies in there. And take them through the library all the time. This is that northeast corner of the parking lot where they used to park. I park the car here a lot of times, go through the gym door over here. Yeah, we might start walking around, just keep it going here. The original building back over there was the high school up until about 1969 when they closed it off. This is where we used to go into the gym. And right now it's very wet in there. Very moldy, very musty. But I used to go in there and go up these stairways on both sides, set the projector up above, and take movies from here. Do movies on the stage over there. But, really nice entrance. You come in, and the bathrooms are on both sides, if I remember right. Nope, there was a coat room there. Water fountains, coat room there. You had a big balcony, and you could get up there on top and see everything. There's a classroom down below here. Somebody's going to rip the boards off of them. There's big bleachers up there on the gymnasium where you can sit and watch the ball game out there. This one was built in 1914, 2 years after Grandma Emmy was born. This part of the building. It's amazing they matched the brickwork exactly on the new part compared to the old part over there. Look how nice these windows were. They put all those in just before they closed in about 10 years before they did. Spent thousands of dollars putting all those new windows in. The library was not that room, but those two rooms up there on the top. You got the flagpole, I see. This is one of the main entrances you could come into, but there wasn't any driveway on this side, there was a playground out here. But there's an entranceway, and you went up a stairway to the second landing, or downstairs to all the bottom classrooms here. But the library is that window, those three, that one, and those four over there, top floor, into the building. That was something when they used to have the high school there, but look at the window down here. These were all classrooms at one time. Yeah, it's not flooded, it's really dark in there. That classroom's not in that bad a shape. That still would be usable if a little work and clean and rewiring. I can't remember what classrooms was in that one. We had K through 6th grade for years here.
There's the door that's open.
The air conditioner on this part. And what's amazing about it is the way they built this together. So wrapped around like a cursor, they just simply built the second floor up again here. I don't know what year that was built, but they shouldn't have built it this way. This was the kitchen area over here. Kitchen and storage area where they bring the food in. Look at there, when the capstones fell off up from on top. That would be dangerous.
Sure did.
I never came in this door. I always came through that door, the one that's in there. Look window out here. You can probably get a camera in there and see a lot on this one. How well built that is. Big steel beam converters in the ceiling. The brickwork is still great too. Vandalized as well. Nice kick it in. Okay, they got that part boxed off and maybe water down there. Be careful of broken glass. This used to be an open hallway down through here. Yeah, it's too dark and dangerous to go through there. Feels slimy in here too. Those were classrooms that led across and went clear up to the gymnasium on the other side there. They boxed in a lot of those windows. That stairway went up to the next floor up. There's another stairway over here. This is where all the kids got off the bus, came to this very door. Came into here, and they went that way, or upstairs over here. That part got more light in it.
How good we can get upstairs and see the library.
Yeah, we can do that. This was a lunchroom over there. This was a classroom. They brought in a lot of junk stuff in there. These were nice classrooms. This was a classroom for the industrial arts class when they had a high school here. This is all belongs to that was the industrial arts classroom. I wanted to make a library out of it, and I chose the upstairs rather than down here. It's still in that bad of shape. Look at the ceilings and stuff. This was the cafeteria where they ate. It was pretty neat. I've shown movies in here before. Bring the whole kids down here, show a movie about that PTA meeting somewhere. This was their kitchen area. You serve your meals over here. A lot of times I come through that door, come right by the serving area here, get some food, sit right over here at the table and eat. The tile's still on the floor. It really isn't that bad a shape, is it?
No, it really isn't.
Man, this is the kitchen. I don't think I ever was in the kitchen here. These are all concrete, solid buildings. They had their own bathrooms. Look at this. This was a very good building. It should never been closed. They had 300 and some kids going to school here. So they had to save the money for something bigger. We've been down this hallway. And upstairs here is the office and up this stairs any time. Water on the landing. These two buildings were built to join in with the other. Display cases or stuff in here. Every time coming up this stairway, like the raccoons there in here. This wasn't boxed in when I was here. It was open area. You came right through here. You were watching kids down on the playground. I can remember standing right there by that window with the principal watching the school buses come in the morning.
About what year was that, do you think?
All the years I was here, it was the same year, 1980, and then some of that. I came up that stairway, there were lockers all along here. Classrooms. Classrooms vary according to which teacher is where. Look how big these classrooms are. They aren't small. The only thing they never did was lower the ceilings. These are big, right? Big closets. And different teachers had these classrooms at different times. I've never seen this thing. The office. Never come in here a lot of times. Always check the mail, get the stuff. The safe, and all the stuff was kept. This was the office. This is a nice big one too. Secretary's desk was right here. And back in here was the dreaded principal's office, so to speak. And her desk sat right there. She was sitting behind. There was a woman principal most of the time. A lot of principals came and went through there. When it was a high school, this was a really nice building, brand new. Why really foolish enough to consolidate in 1969 when this got to build a brand new building? Pantry closet. That was the bathroom. Use that one. This was the science room. This was the girls' bathroom. The other one was the boys' bathroom. There's not since I was here. Here they lowered the ceilings and abandoned it. This room was wide open, the whole distance was a science room. Boy, when they had a high school here, they really had something. In elementary, it wasn't bad at all. Again, this held about 350 kids, this school did, and it was really full. Everybody in Belle and the countryside around here. That wall wasn't here when I was here. They put crosses on the doors.
Was that there when you were here, the cross?
That was locked. Classroom again. Lockers all along here. Good library. When I first moved in here, I wanted this room. The one upstairs, I had this great big gigantic library. Beautifully set up, built it all myself. Right in here, I had tables with listening centers on it, electronic stuff right and left. Kids would come in and put on earphones and listen to stories on the tapes. We had a screen we pulled down, had a movie projector to show the movies clear across the room. It's one of the best libraries for size I ever had. That was the audio-visual room. There was good stuff in there. Audio-visual equipment. When I came through the door, there was a big, long, I built it myself, a two-sided study carrel with seats on it that would hold 16 kids at the time. Then we had another study carrel went down through here, where you had the videos and stuff for you to see. Library shelves were full size there. Over there, there was a spot in the window, and a clear out of there, clear over here. And this was the checkout area. Oh, wait, I put this together. We had to move it from upstairs, bring it down by hand, and come across and bring everything in from the third floor to the second, clear across here. Put all this together. Checkout desk is right here. I built it. There was a typewriter there in the corner. That door was closed usually because it went into the science room. Yeah, it's cross on the door. My grandparents went with the books. They didn't really irritate. I had this for a year that way, and then they decided to put a wall right through there, cut the library down real small, put it across there, and had some kind of spatial services rooms in there. They didn't have to do it because they had the whole rest of the building to do it in. Again, they didn't lower the ceiling into this.
A concrete roof, isn't it?
And concrete roof, it's really well built. Again, this is a science room, they put a wall in and divided it up into something else. I used to park the car on the side of the building and come up this exit way here. People would have that open in the morning, I'd come up the stairway at the back and right in the library. Look at all these windows in the view. You can walk along up here and just see all over town. And we had curtains, if I remember right, or shades that come down, so when we did videos it was dark. Look at that big beam in the ceiling, it was fascinated by that. This building was built, they built it to last. And it still lasts. Basket. Probably got cement floor over here. Somebody's vandalized and broke out windows. This is the last library. And they closed the school, and Mom and I had to haul all those books down that stairway into the station wagon and haul it clear to the other end of the district again. Meanwhile, I wrote that consolidated and had this nice building like this one. But when they left it, it was in perfect shape. Nice tile floors. Long as they went. Looks like we've got a major leak here. This is the top floor. They built this one, I think, in 1953. Just a few years before they consolidated it. They should have built it as a wraparound like Mercer did. They had those big long hallways and one level. But they didn't. I'm never going to be able to get into the other part safely there. We took all the lockers now, extracted them all, and they're all built in. Bulletin boards were everywhere. I mean, it wasn't a place you could have displayed something. Now we might try something. That door. I doubt it, but they probably don't want anybody in through there. Again, this is something else like we're going on. Oh, it does open. Now, let's see how safe it is. The other part is right now. This is wooden floor up this here. Kind of creepy, I don't think I want to go through there.
No.
That goes down to the basement there, there's probably flooded classrooms over there. That was a special services department. There's a stairway behind those doors that went up to the upper landing.
Somebody's been messing around back there. There's all kinds of pop bottles on the floor down there.
There are classrooms set off of here. The original building had a stairway, a double stairway, it went up, and came back into the upstairs up there. You go up, floor is got to feel solid here. There's a wooden floor. They built on the building, they understand they built that building, wouldn't join it together, then they had to do something special, so the community raised money to build this little entrance way to join the two together. Why would you have somebody build a building and not join it together? Not a good way to go. Those are classrooms there, they all look dark and shades now. The brickwork on that is fantastic, look at that, great shape. Nothing wrong with that. This was really a solid, good building one time. They started doing all the changes there a bit. This one had an intercom system in it too. I worked it all and made it work so you could contact all the different classrooms. Saved them a bundle of money. When I came, it didn't work, so I went in the office, chased all the wires down. Somebody cut a bunch of them, replaced them. There were speakers in there, and they could call to each room on the intercom then. And I got all that working for them. I thought when I get the outside, I had something safe to down the other. Look how these steps are built, solid concrete. Well, this building was, believe it or not, fireproof. Was there anything there could burn? Nothing.
No.
This
all.
was built solid to save weather. But it didn't have an elevator, so everything was not wheelchairs, nothing old. You had the ramp over here. It said that wasn't there, that was just an open hallway, right straight down through there. That doorway wasn't there, everything just went straight to the big wide hallway. You don't walk through there, you can't, but I don't think I'm gonna try it. Looks a little scary. You never know what you're gonna run into in there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Like one of the doors is off in here.
There's footprints in there that look like they haven't been there that long.
I'm surprised how nice some of these classrooms still look. This has been clean for years.
Yeah. Again, we're in Belle. This is December the 15th, 2014.
Kind of funny story right here. They had looks like something big in here. One day I was up there in the library and looked out and I heard a cracking noise and there's a tree right here. And over the space of an hour it just slowly keeled over and laid down on the ground. The roots were breaking after heavy rain. You could hear it break every once in a while. So when I got to Dad there, I said, you know, this is strange. Come here and look at that. And right up there in those windows, right up there, that second layer of them. And we watched, and the whole tree just laid down in the yard and collapsed a little bit at a time, inch by inch. A big old pine tree. I want to come out here and get a good view of it. It's pretty fascinating here. Never was I ever out in this yard unless I had to come out and see a teacher. Something about. They had playground out here, and on the other side, playground over there. School owned everything clear over those pickups. So they could have had football, sports, every type. They had a ball diamond over there, I remember. Back in the days when they had the high school. And that says 1953. See the big date stone on it? How big that school is. Most places would have loved to have a school that big even today. It always puzzled me why Mercer was built in 1953, about the same time as this one. Why they didn't just run it around the building and make a hallway and do like a Mercer and throw the way they did? Wouldn't make good sense. Well, that building's been there so long, that was built to stay forever. Cement floors and cement roofs. So they kept building on. They built the gym on one side and they built the extra classes here. That part of the building's kind of attractive, but this is kind of blonde here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just next so the kids could walk to school, they come down that way and walk in. I was surprised they never had the buses come in here and unloaded those doors, but they never did. It's also on the other side. Got the years I said there, 1953. Consolidated, these people were shocked too, why they voted to close a nice school like that and go in for a new one. Nobody ever seems to know. They got the vote passed without a vote of the people.
What year did they close this?
1969. They closed this one, Lewistown, and LaGrange and Ewing. They all went in together. Williamstown didn't go, and neither did Canton. They stayed out and said, no, we're not going to do that.
So they closed this in 69?
Yeah, 69.
So you weren't here very long then, were you?
Well, in 69, I came here in the fall of in the spring of 73. Or 74, I guess it was. 73 in the fall, that's what it was. So when I came here, they'd only been closed about 4 years. And they had this little elementary K through 6th grade here. And we had the 8th grade over at Lewistown.
What year did they finally close the whole place down?
Well, let's see, 1997. They finally did away with them all. Though.
Same year as LaGrange?
Yeah, they put them all into Ewing and LaGrange. That's when LaGrange and Ewing closed, so they closed this one soon. So 1995 probably, somewhere right in there. You used to be able to drive all the way through up to there. And there was a driveway in right there and gravel up here, and you could park. I used to park right there by the bottom of that stairway. Walk up there to classes there. Usually I parked right here under it more than I did above it. That was their industrial arts department. See, they had a big door. They could bring cars in there and work on them. Do auto body and auto mechanics and all that kind of stuff. Very well built building. It cost a fortune to me. And nice that they kept that and repaired it and done it right. The building unit. This is all once mowed real nicely here. Playground equipment. We had a volleyball, badminton, basketball court out here. They had the asphalt. Bottom to it there facing the PGA. See how bad we got up there. Go back in and blew in. It'll be interesting if some foreign investors came along with their own money and we bought it and redid it in the school again.
Yeah, they...
69 Cadillac. I used to drive it right into here and park it right here and then spot right there next to that sewer line pipe. I had a parking space right here next to the door. When I picked up the Cadillac, I said we drove over here. And that was a parking place then, and I parked on the north for a while and finally got the south side parking. The brickwork's not so good on this side. All over classrooms. I really like the entrance where it's a big drain. Drain runs underneath the floor and comes out on this side. I think they did a good job building this.
No.
It looks like much of a playground now, but they had play down equipment out here and there's on the other side. Surprised how the brickwork is staying here. Apparently the wind blew the windows clear in here. But even at that, it's still a very solid roof. One of the reasons they closed it, they were worried about the brickwork chipping off. And it looks like a piece of the stoneware has come down out of this.
Hey, try that door and just peek into the gym.
Well, actually, that one goes down under the stage there. We had a haunted house down underneath there.
Oh.
I played Dracula, and some of the teachers are Miss Cook. We played the Wicked Witch, and at the other end out with strobe lights stirring a big old pot. And this was the entrance to the furnace room there. The big, massive furnace looked like it came out of a steam engine. Well, the capstones are falling out of that one. That door probably will open, but if anything's flooded at all, it would be that. See the drains that came down where they drained the water away from it? But they used more of the backside here from the buses that pulled up over there and let them out than anything. You can see where the gym was built on there. Look, the cement roof over the area there. Careful when you hit the falls off.
I don't think anything's gonna fall right there.
You have to spread it down in there, looks like. Well, for a while I talked to him about making that into an audio-visual room where we have a movie theater in there. That was the old science room at one time. The stairway went back up to the gym there. Yeah, it's really dark though. Maybe got water standing down there. Oh, it did smell musty even years ago. That would lead up to the stage. It's awful dark up through there. All that water leaking into something back there. And these buildings were all paid for. When they consolidated, they didn't have any money owed on the building at all. Lewistown, Ewing were all paid for, so when they consolidated, there was no big bills on interest rates on loans involved. They had different windows, then in the, well, about 1990, they started putting in all these new windows, repaired the roofs there. These are rooms behind the gymnasium stage there. There were different classrooms in those. Imagine how many classrooms there were in this building. Must have been 50 or 60 classrooms altogether.
Yeah.
That's big. It's little standards in there. Yeah, we had the haunted house down in that basement area there. Somebody loaned a casket from a local funeral parlor, and I'd pop out over to Dracula down there. Miss Cook. One of the other teachers were the Wicked Witches over there.
Yeah, I remember Miss Cook was talking about that the other day.
That's what she was remembering, that one, the way Lewistown used to be. See the water damage there? This is the science room, and this was the science office over here. And there was a door that led into the actual science experimental lab over there. All sorts of equipment. Yeah, look how big the rooms were off of the stage even. And there was plenty of room for stuff to do. For the 350 kids, it was crowded right then. You could hardly get all the kids in there. People were living here and working in Quincy and around and going to school here. This led in from behind the stage area. I always thought it was neat because they made cement overhangs. Very rare I've ever seen that done. Somebody's torn up the door, kicking it in here. Solid. When I first came, they had glass windows and all this, so you could have plenty of light in the gym. Then they got the boxed them in, thinking it was saving on heat there. They haven't changed it all. Look how they supported the wall. Two great big cement columns. They didn't intend for that to go anywhere. We'll walk out this way. There was a volleyball court and stuff was out here. Look how much land they had here. Down here, see, one time they had assembly in the gymnasium. The kid started fainting. It was so hot in May. I carried one of them out here myself so he could revive himself there on the ground. Passed out in the heat. I was down there and they had a music program. They started passing out one at a time.
That must have been pretty hot that
Oh
day.
yeah, made quite a show for the rest of the school. Kids passing out and falling down on the street. I think of a view this way, but it doesn't look good. Up until like 3 or 4 years ago, that windstorm that came through, that's what we all really got. Totally gone now, but somewhere right in here was an asphalt playing court. The PTA paid for it, up $2,000 for it. Had a wire fence around it, basketball goals. Look how easy it would have been to repair that roof. You just put a coating and stuff on it, that metal. It doesn't leak that badly yet if it's been vandalized. That is one very big building. You come right down to it. Probably bigger than LaGrange. You can come right down to the size of it, but it's got a big full-size gym there. Quality of the brick is what surprised me. Well, that high school from 1913 onwards, that was 101 years ago that middle building was built. This was 1939, wartime. That was 1953. So 13 years later they built that one. This one was about 26 years later. They just kept building on to that nice school. Stephenville closed their school and they brought it up here, so they were consolidating in some nice buildings here. Not having been touched for years, it really looks pretty good.
Yeah, better than LaGrange.
Yeah. I guess all the wiring looks like it's still in this one.
Yeah, nobody did that.
All these houses like this were here then. They had plenty of people living here. About 800 to 1,000 people live here in town. This is just a parking lot, so when you had ball games, people could pull in here and park, through down into here and back around on that side. There was a driveway and went clear around and through. Plenty of parking area for ball games and things that were going on. I've been here and that gymnasium is just filled full of people there. Bleachers all full and standing. Yeah, most of them moved away, passed away, but they won't stay where they don't have a school. There's some little asphalt still left. There's no parking in a few areas there. I don't remember why they had no parking there, because there wasn't any reason not to, because we did park there. It must have been toward the end of things when they did something else. But everybody did park around here. There should be a parking lot towards there. Can you imagine this park full of schools, about 20 of them that work here? 2 classes of everything, K through 6th grade. That's 14 teachers, plus the support staff and everything else. About 20-some people worked here. Still got the post here. It says gym up there. That might have
Those
were glassed in windows when I came, like those up there on the 20. There was bathrooms and locker rooms up there. They weren't used when I was here. They just abandoned them. But you go down in there and they had dressing areas, showers for kids playing basketball when they had to high school. They had them on both sides of the gym. They didn't use them because they had a lot of bathrooms in other areas. Bottom landing, they had brand new bathrooms. They had bathrooms up on that area, bathrooms down there. Sad thing is, when they started boxing in all the windows, and it looked terrible there. I think they deliberately tried to make it look bad so they could say it needed to be repaired and just close it there. Now this one could be restored.
Yeah, this wouldn't be as
Anytime
bad.
you got solid cement like that, and the bricks mostly in good shape except on that back side.
All the wiring's still in it. Look, the air conditioners are there.
Yes. Several air conditioners there. all you're going at some of the drain spouts coming down off the landing there. Kind of interesting when I was showing movies in the gym, you can look out those windows up there and see the top of this porch area there. Entranceway. And we had 2 janitors to mow all this yard. Can you imagine that all the way clear to that stop sign, all the way to that one whole 2 city blocks here. And everything around it. They had a tractor with a mower mounted on it. And all these newer houses were here then. Most of them, I don't think see anything new. I remember one year when the snow went bad, I couldn't park in the lots. I had to park along the road clear over there and wade through the snow to get into the building clear over here. When I first started the libraries here, I did the one, I believe it was Lewistown first, then LaGrange, and I came over and did this one, and the last one I did was Ewing. It took me 1 whole year. I never had a kid to check out a book. Spent 1 whole year doing nothing except setting up the libraries in all 4 of the elementary schools there. Getting them all operational. Look how big they were, those great big gigantic rooms. The one upstairs there was as big as that one over on the other end I had there.
Yeah, too bad we couldn't go up there, but
I don't want a chance with all that fog being dark right now.
yeah.
You can watch it run in through there. They have some windows open. Well, at least you know where it was there.
Yeah.